when it comes to the law of attraction, there are 3 key emotions that we really get to learn how to utilize in order to begin manifesting things into our life. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to use 2 different examples, both for my own life. The first being weight loss, and the second being business and creating coaching income in my coaching practice. So first, let's look at the area of weight loss. So if you want to hear more about my weight loss journey, check out some of my other videos. For the sake of honoring your time, I'm just going to kind of fast forward and give you the highlights. So I struggled with weight my entire life. Anywhere from 30 to 70 pounds overweight at my heaviest. There was a lot of stories around my genetics and different things going on in my life, and a lot of emotional eating. But I decided a little over a year and a half ago that I was sick and tired of it, and that I was ready to make a change. And I began to really want to utilize the powers of the universe in doing this. In the past, I'd really focused on, diet and exercise and all of these structural physical things, right? The physical efforting and action that we can take, but I didn't ever really focus on aligning my energy and my purpose. So you may or may not have heard this phrase before, but the truth is that no amount of effort can make up for a misalignment in energy. And man, I'm telling you, I spent 10 years of my life chasing a slimmer, skinnier body in the efforting category, and that's all I was doing and all I was focusing on, and it was very, very discouraging and frustrating. And when I began to step into this place of wanting to understand the law of attraction, really utilize it, that's when I discovered the power of harnessing these 3 emotions. So first, let me describe for you the way not to do it. The 3 emotions that typically get utilized and how they don't really work for us. So let's look at emotion number 1. Typically for people, it starts with an experience of frustration. They look in the mirror, they see that they're overweight, or they look at their bank account or in their marriage, and they experience frustration. They begin to see the contrast. They're noticing what they do not want, and they experience frustration. And then, they start looking for solutions, and they go into solution mode. So they either find a diet or a gym or a weight loss program. For me, it was whatever the fad was. I've done HCG, intermittent fasting, keto, like a whole bunch of crazy different types of things. I was a fruitarian for a while, right? I tried all these different processes, right? So I was experiencing frustration. I researched and researched to try to come up with a plan for efforting. And then in desperation, that was how I acted, right? As I'm efforting, I'm desperate for a change. So when I'm cutting my calories, or I'm headed to the gym, or whatever it might be that I'm doing it from this energy of I'm desperate for a change. I'm so frustrated. I'm desperate. And for those of you who are students of the law of attraction, you understand that you can't create something opposite of the energy that you're in. So when you're in desperation and you're so focused on what you don't want and what you're not liking, you create more of the same, right? And then this results in a 3rd emotion, which is the victim, or the solidification of the old story or the past pattern or the belief, right? For me was, see, I can't lose weight. See, it can't be easy. See, it can't be fun. See, it has to be hard. See, I have to restrict. I have to miss out. And it solidified all the old patterns and programs and stories around weight. Crazy, right? So here are the 3 emotions that we get to understand, to utilize, to harness the law of attraction, to really propel us forward towards what we want at an accelerated rate. The first one, are you ready for this? Excitement. Getting excited about the change. Visualizing it, imagining it, experiencing it. So you may start in frustration, right? You may be looking at something you don't want. You may look in the mirror or step on the scale and think, I don't like this. It feels yucky. But then immediately go to, what do I want? And get excited about it. Get excited about imagining it having already happened, experiencing it, right? This is where a lot of us law of attraction people we handle this really, really well. And this is what I had been very good at in my business and a lot of other things. I would get excited about what I was creating. I would get excited about my goals. I would get excited about whatever the plan was, or the coaching program, or the diet that I'd signed up for. I'm sure you can relate to this. And I would get so excited. But then I would miss the emotion number 2. This emotion is the magic ingredient. And a lot of people struggle with this because we go from frustration of seeing what we don't want to excitement to create this new thing, but then there's this huge gap. There's this huge gap between what we're experiencing and what we're wanting, right? Whether it's financially, in our business, or in our body, okay? So you feel this gap. What closes the gap? Oh, you ready for it? It's emotion number 2, and it's appreciation. Don't underestimate the power of this. In my coaching programs, we spend an interesting amount of time. People don't really know, my clients aren't really aware that what we're doing is we're enhancing their ability to appreciate, because it's such a subtle experience. It's like it's a way of being, it's an attitude that runs below the conscious understanding. And so we really get to shift into this new level of awareness of appreciation of what already is. And this is where it can feel counterintuitive, right? For people who've studied law of attraction for quite some time, or law of manifestation, it can feel contradictory, right? I decided I didn't want this thing so much, and I harnessed that emotion of frustration, or I'm sick of tired of being sick of tired, to force me into action, right? And to move me over here. And next week, I'm gonna have a video put out here about efforting and about creating a law of attraction based plan of action and what that looks like. So hang on for that one, and make sure you subscribed and come back here for next week when I'll be going into this even in greater detail, okay? So what happens is we experience and we feel this gap, right? And we want to close it, but this is what is, and I don't want it, and this is what I want, and this is what I'm excited about, but now I'm supposed to create appreciation now? And it can almost feel like settling, and it can almost feel like, man, if I become really comfortable and okay with what is now, maybe I will lose that fire, right? That desire or that drive that puts me into action towards your goals. I can understand that feeling. Know that that is normal, and it's a little bit of a test. It's a little bit of a test for you. Trust that if there's a desire that's been placed in your heart that has at some point ignited a fire in your soul, that simply moving into a space of gratitude and appreciation isn't going to squelch that. It's actually going to create the opposite. But what it's going to do is create more peace in the now, which frees up the resistance to allow what it is you're wanting to come to you. Next week, again, I'm going into this into greater detail, because a lot of my clients or people who want to do coaching with me approach me and say, oh, so what did you do? Just sit on your couch and think yourself skinny? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There is a plan of action, and there is some efforting a part of the creation equation. There is some more to that, and we'll get into that next week again. But hear me today. Appreciation, generating and creating and fostering appreciation, and again, developing it to be an attitude and a base state emotion, so that it's something that's running subconsciously and that you're not always having to consciously focus on an effort at. Again, remember, in the beginning, when we're creating any new habit in our life, a habit of thinking or a habit of behavior, there is a period of adaptation. There is a period of integration where it takes a little more conscious effort and a little bit more focus to become a subconscious program, to become a habit. And it's worth it, and it is possible. But it does exist, and that is there as well. Okay, now the third emotion. What's the third emotion? Anticipation. The third emotion is anticipation. And this is where your belief level has moved to the point that you are actually anticipating this happening, and you're getting excited. So I love to use the example in the law of creation of pregnancy. And I use this example because it's one of the most physically obvious forms of creation that humans experience on the planet, actually creating a human life. So if you can imagine, near the end of a pregnancy, women begin to say, I'm expecting any day now. I'm anticipating labor any day now, right? But she still doesn't know when it's going to happen. Right? She doesn't know when, unless she scheduled it or something crazy, right? But we don't know exactly when we're going to go into labor, and it's fully going to manifest in physical form and come out here into reality, into our space where we can see it, feel it, touch it, smell it, all that yummy stuff, right? So what we get to understand is that as we move into a space of anticipation, our behaviors will naturally change. We don't go force the behaviors, but they'll naturally change because we begin to feel in it. It's like it's an internally inspired experience, right? It's coming from inside of us. We feel inspired to anticipate or to prepare for it, right? Just like the pregnant woman near the end when she's expecting labor, she'll pack her bag for the hospital. She will prepare the nursery, set up the crib, install the car seat, all of those little tiny things that get to happen when she begins to anticipate this baby's arrival. Again, there's 3 emotions, all right? Let's go back through them. Excitement, getting excited about the goal. You can utilize all sorts of alignment tools for this, right? Visualization, affirmations, scripting, declarations, meditation. There's lots of different things to assist you in really fostering and generating this emotion of excitement about what it is you're creating. Then second, really adopting an attitude of appreciation and gratitude for what already is so good. Really, there is so much that is so good. And then third, using and harnessing this experience and feeling of anticipation, of expectation. And as your anticipation begins to grow and you feel momentum going in that area, anticipation will swell and move into expectation. And the minute that you're in expectation, honest to goodness, that manifestation is literally just around the corner. I'd love to share with you how I utilize this in my business very quickly. One of the first things that I did in my business was seek out and want more clientele, obviously, right? I wanted to grow my coaching practice. So one of the things I found that I would struggle with is I would get someone booked for a consult and I would experience a lot of excitement, right? Because there's this excitement of envisioning them becoming a client and getting to work with them and be in my gifts and earn income so that I could keep supporting the business and my practice and experience the life I was designing, right? So all of this excitement would come, right? But then I would move into this space of desperation, right? One of the emotions on the opposite side of where I would restrict and I would become like, I have to have this thing. And then I would start to experience tension and tightness in my body. So then when I'm on the consult, now I'm in desperation of feeling like I have to have this client, right? I really have to have this client, blah, 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 blah. And I'd be in that in my head, right? And then what would happen is then they wouldn't sign up. Like the energy's off, things are misaligned. I mean, occasionally they would sign up, but something would go awry and they would go away. And I would move into this victim of, see, it's not gonna work. I can't support myself following my passions. You know, I need to get back into the rat race or whatever the story is that it's fueling in the back of my mind. What I began to shift was first excitement at the opportunity for the potentiality of a client. And then I would go into appreciation of the experience of getting to practice stating my rate and owning my worth and really interacting with their energy in a really positive way. What would happen before when I move into desperation, and I didn't even consciously realize it at the time, but on my phone calls with my clients, it was like I was in this desperate energy, so I was trying to prove my value and prove my worth and prove that my coaching was really gonna, help them create the results they want, and they could feel that. And for some reason, they probably couldn't put a word to it, but they just didn't feel right about moving forward, right? So as I began to shift and be in appreciation of the process and the experience, and really I made the coaching call just about developing my skills and not about forcing or creating an end result. I set that on the table, trusting that if it wasn't this person, it would be someone else, knowing that the laws of attraction, the laws of the universe are consistent always, right? So I'd set that on the shelf, and then I'd come back and I would focus on appreciation and being in the moment of the experience. And I would anticipate clients signing up. I would anticipate having a full coaching schedule, right? And then that shifted the energy so much that it was way easier. I created a free, easy, I kind of released it, right? And it allowed it to show up. It allowed it to manifest. It was beautiful. So harness these 3 emotions. I'd love to hear how it goes for you in the comments below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. And I'd love for you to share this video with your other game-changing, world-changing, forward-thinking, cutting-edge friends and family. As always, remember, Rome was not built in a day. Just make your next choice your best choice and go out there and live your legacy. I'll talk to you guys again next week.